Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Today I will discuss an article about Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger was the former Secretary of State and National Security Advisor under Nixon and Ford. He is Jewish. He's a very well informed person, knowledgeable, intelligent, sneaky, sly, and he was a diplomat. He was a diplomat like Lavrov is. He had his interests were placed in a few areas, but most of all his interests were for this country, United States of America. I don't know how or where he is getting his information nowadays, but he is just using logic and common sense to make some statements that are considered by the current US diplomats, if we can call them this way, very unorthodox. The current batch of diplomats of the United States are very, I would say, shallow and very short-sighted, very narrow and short-sighted. Henry Kissinger, on the other hand, he had a worldview. Obviously, his interest lies with the United States of America, but you would not embarrass yourself if you bring him to a, I don't want to say a party, but a meeting. Whereas if you take Blinken or I don't know, other weasels that are right now here, no. He would be, one of those diplomats that you could, admire. Now, it's not necessary that I agree with what he says, because I don't think in this article he says something so deep that, oh my God, we got enlightenment right now. It's just that what he says is very uncomfortable for current administration and for the United States of America. He is capable of saying things more than or further than the next presidential elections or the cycle of elections here in the United States, which is like another Jewish scholar, Stephen Cohen. I mentioned him. He was a professor emeritus of Russian studies. He died I think two years ago or so. He was very intelligent, I admire that guy. He was fantastic. Just look him up online and I think you would be impressed by a normal person, because right now it seems like normality is something extraordinary. So this Cohen said, the Professor Cohen said that the United States are conducting their foreign policy from next election to next election, this cycle of 4 years. That's how far they look. That's how narrow-minded are, versus the Russians who look in centuries. They look centuries ahead. They plan foreign policy in centuries, whereas these guys here, just election and popularity contest due to their democratic system of elections. So let's see what Henry Kissinger had to say, and I agree with him. This article comes from Market Watch. August 15th, 2022. Kissinger says US is aimlessly heading towards edge of war against Russia and China. Now, if you say this, you go and say, let's say, go to the White House and say, excuse me, you're heading to this and that. You know what they're going to tell you? You're a Putin apologist, you're a Xi Jinping, whatever, you're this, you're that. They will call you names. This is how democracy, this is how diplomacy is run right now. It's not using brains, it's using pathos. Not logos, but pathos. Pathos without logos is just, see how love is. See where that gets you. So, and I'm quoting this gentleman. We are at the edge of war with Russia and China on issues which we partly created. Just say that right now in a meeting somewhere. You will be kicked out of that place and fired from your job and tarred and feathered and left alone somewhere in the city, downtown, without any concept of how this is going to end or what it's supposed to lead to. So we are at the edge of war with Russia and China on issues which we partly created, without any concept of how this is going to end or what is supposed to lead to. So that means no plan. No plan, just see what's happening, man. Let's go. Yeah, I know, yeah, you know how the politicians do, yeah, that's all. Facade. It's no substance. It's just the appearance. The substance is not there. Superficiality, that's what it is. Kissinger added that foreign policy is, quote unquote, very responsive to the emotion of the moment. On Taiwan, he advised being very careful in measures that seem to change the structure of the relationship with China, without directly criticizing the recent visit by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Do you think he says something deep? No, I think he says something that nowadays could be considered revolutionary. You know, like George Orwell said, in a world full of deceit, telling the truth is an act. It's a revolutionary act. The same here. Telling the truth is a revolutionary act nowadays. Having common sense or seeing the obvious that contradicts the dogma or the ideology already formed, it's a revolutionary act right here. I read Henry Kissinger's main book, I would say, called, I was about to say Diplomacy, and I recommend it. It's a very intelligent book. It's a very gives a lot of information and from different angles. Obviously, it's a little bit skewed towards United States because he was a Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, but you can see a little bit diplomacy from a different angle, from his point of view. Very good book. But coming back to this, Henry Kissinger said something about 2 months ago that he was criticized and it created outrage, you know that word, and backlash. These are the words. Like 5 people could not jerk off alone and quietly in a bathroom, and they got outraged with Kissinger. So these are when he said something about Zelensky, that Zelensky has to negotiate, he has to do something. He can't just go like this, something like that. He needs to talk to the Russians or something along these lines. And everybody says, oh my God, how can you say that? He's senile, he's this and that. Well, I'll take Kissinger before I take Biden 50 times. So I think Henry Kissinger is much older than Biden. But anyway, I think he's got a point. United States pushed China and Russia together, closer together, by restricting them and thinking that they can dictate to these guys. These guys, you know, took care of stuff. They got closer and closer, and right now, United States is at war with Russia. Actually, through Ukraine, is not declared and not really active in having troops over there, or you know, Americans flying planes and all that. And in China, very close. With Taiwan, very close. The problem is dark clouds are gathering, which means the second club is becoming one. That's good. It's good for them, bad for the old club. And the Americans know that, obviously. But the problem is, instead of holding horses, they keep beating the horse straight to, as Kissinger said, do you know where it's going to end? Do you have a vision? Did you plan anything? Or just go to see what happens? Just go to see what happens. They're too concerned with elections and with the power here instead of real global issues that will affect these elections. Will be zero compared with what the global problems are created, are heading to. They're talking about, well, we're not going to use nuclear bombs. Another article says, how would a minor nuclear conflict look like? What is this talk about? they're getting us ready for that. As I said many times before, you know, they want to get here, but they start with little steps. This is just a little step. They get us through. What about the mini nuclear war? No, we're not going to use. No need for nuclear weapons used in Ukraine. This is just the first 1 or 2 steps, and then it's going to be more and more and more. Oh, we just deployed a few nuclear weapons with the border with Ukraine in Poland, or we just did it in next to the border with Zaporozhia area, and then there's the next step and next step and next step, and crazy. But I don't think they have to deploy it because they can hit from wherever they are. So, as I said, Kissinger comes and says certain things that are normal, average, but he's creating problems, outrage, and backlash. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.